Mohandas, if you would, I'd like you to stay with us here at the India Global Forum here in the UAE. And I want to just invite our special guests onto the stage now. Let's bring some more views as we continue the conversation here at the India Global Forum UAE, where India meets the world and the world meets India. Please welcome to join us on stage here at the Taj Hotel in Dubai, Eileen Pryer, the Director of Marketing, Admissions and International Recruitment at University College, Birmingham, UK. Eileen, if you'd like to come up to the stage, thank you. Also, Kamal Puri, founder and chairman of Skyline University College. And Saranjit Sangar, CEO for EMEA of upGrad. Welcome. Great to have you here with us. Can I start first, Saranjit, with a question for you? Now, upGrad focuses a lot on skills development. What are your thoughts on making e-learning more inclusive?
That's a brilliant question. Thank you so much for asking. But firstly, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to speak among a very distinguished panel here. It's a pleasure to be here in Dubai today. Let me start by talking about what's actually happening in the world. Technology is evolving at such a rapid pace that our talent across the world, not in any particular region, is finding it difficult to keep pace with it, and which is why most of the countries are seeing a widening gap in skill sets. And that's just going to increase phenomenally if we don't take any action on it today. Just a few data points around it. 25% of the jobs that exist today did not exist 5 years ago. And 65% of the primary students today will get into jobs that do not exist today. So how do we keep pace with such a fast evolving technology and also upskill the talent and the workforce? And I guess that's where upGrad really plays a role. So we say ourselves a lifelong learner provider. We operate from the age range of 18 to 50 plus to lifelong learning, from bachelor's to master's to lifelong. And the way we do it is there are 3 principles in mind. One is deep personalized learning. Every learner is unique, their backgrounds are unique. You could be a working professional with multiple commitments or a student going to college and you have a different time commitment. So we reverse engineers our program that could be suited to everyone based on their personal backgrounds. The second is very relevant content. As I mentioned, content is changing every day. So we refresh our content also very regularly to keep it fresh. And the third is personalized outcomes. You and I might want very different things from upskilling, and we keep that in mind when we design our program. So that's how I think upGrad is really reshaping the e-learning space, and we are on a mission to make education accessible, affordable, and relevant.
Saranjit, thank you very much for that. Kamal Puri, can I ask you, I mean, this is a big question, and we don't have too much time, but what's the future of higher education, do you think?
See, I'm in the education field from last 36 years. We have run British education, we have run American education. Being an Asian, we understand Asian education system. The future of education, as Mr. Pai also mentioned, it is going to be blended mode. When you go to Subway, you say, okay, I want this, I want this, I want this. Similar way, university will be providing a menu to the students. Student will select, I want to pick up chemistry, I want to pick up business education, I want to pick up this and this. Education will not limit to bricks. It is going to be bricks and clicks. Clicks are taking over at a very fast pace. We launched online education in '98 with one faculty in US and one faculty in UAE. So the best of both the worlds. While looking to the future, one is what you learn in campus. Second, internship, what you do that. Third, technology. As she said very correctly, education is not filling a glass of water. It is lighting a fire. Till you go away from this world, you are learning every day. If you observe practically today, whatever you have learned in your institutions, that has become outdated. If you don't update on daily basis, you can't face this world. Also, we have to keep, there was a problem in Indian education system. In old policy, there was no grading system, there was no transfer of credits. And now what is happening? India is at takeoff. Now the question is, as Mr. Pai has spoken about Indian statistics, I always say India can invade the world. We have so much manpower. So India is not our home is the world. So future of education will go in an extent that clicks, 30% is now clicks in school, 70% is classroom in school. But in higher education, this is the reverse. One size will not fit to anybody. Each course will be designed to feeding an individual. I will be teaching to 1800 students at a time. Also feeding individually through technology. So education scenario is going to be totally different.
Great, thank you for that. Eileen, can I move on to ask you this question? You're heading and leading an initiative called UniConnect, that's using technology to reach out to students in low deprivation areas. Can you tell us about this project?
Yes, certainly. UniConnect programme was formulated by the UK government, and very much, I suppose I'll get scolded for saying this, I think we don't walk the talk, and we don't fulfil what we say we're going to do. So the Office for Students, who is our regulating body in the UK, said, okay, let's put your money where your mouth is. Every university was then put into groups within their regions. And within the Aim Higher Group West Midlands, there are 5 universities. And with each one of those universities, we are all given targets to work with schools in areas of low deprivation. And that's also where there is digital poverty. And the pandemic really, really highlighted that. Students couldn't attend. If you imagine a household where probably 1 computer, mom and dad's got to work from home, and also 2 children. There's only 1 computer. How can you possibly learn? How can you achieve the grades and succeed like your peers in other well-off families? So the government then said, okay, with the money that you have, then start working with local businesses. It was slow to start with, but I have to say that the West Midlands area, and in particular our Vice-Chancellor, worked with some local companies to give some of these families computers so that they could keep in contact with the curriculum. If you bear in mind some of our year 10 and 11 students and 12 and 13 who are doing GCSEs and A-levels are now 18 months behind. And that's real digital poverty. That's not enabling students to be able to access education. So the UniConnect programme, each university is given a target to work with 2 schools or a college in an area of low deprivation. And that's those kids whose parents have not gone to university, and they're probably going to the first in their generation to go to university. So our targets are based on, and you are measured every year on how many students from your postcode, zip code, whatever you use, how many of those students went on then to university. How accessible did you make it for students to get to university? And also, how did you support them and ensure that they were digitally aware, but also that they can compete on a wider platform? So that is very much what the UniConnect programme does. And that's been now, it started about 5 years ago, but whilst there is not many advantages to the pandemic, my God, it made it grow fast and it made it grow quick. Our aspirations was to get this off the ground by 2023. It just goes to show what you can do when all the universities, the Office for Students and local strong businesses, 3 months. 3 months it took us to be able to provide those kids and schools that were really struggling in those areas to make sure that they were not behind with their peers. So that is how important the digital technology, how important EdTech is to worldwide, and that really highlighted it to us for the West Midlands area and for the UK.
Let's go back to Mohandas Pai in India, joining us virtually. Mohandas, you know, what are some of the challenges currently to e-learning in India right now, do you think?
Sound.
He's on mute.
Oh.
First challenge is digital inclusion. We are a very large country. We are solving a problem no country has solved before. Giving good education to 265 million kids in school, about 38 million young people in college, etc. And that is a big one. Second thing is making sure that everybody has access to digital education at a time when the world was shut down, India was shut down. We are not being very successful, but we are going ahead. And the third thing is training our teachers. Please understand, when the world shut down and India shut down, we had to train a large number of our teachers how to teach young people using digital technologies. For example, we have about 1.6 million faculty in colleges, and we have about 10 million faculty in schools. 10 million. That's more than the population of many countries, right? So we had to underdo that. And third was the question of content. While the edtech companies have content, which is what they sell and what they give it to people, we wanted content to meet the needs of 29 different states who teach children in their own language, in multiple curricula, etc. So it's a humongous problem, but it brought to the fore the native genius of people who rose to solve the problem. In solving all this, maybe we are 40-50% there. Ours is the challenge of scale.
Kamal, can I ask you, what do you think are some of the current challenges?
Sorry?
What are some of the challenges with e-learning at the moment?
What is the?
Challenges
Challenges?
of e-learning at the moment.
E-learning. See, in education, what we do? One is the information. We convert information into knowledge, and knowledge is application. Nowadays, we take the benefit of technology. In a sense, concepts are taught through technology. Application carry on campus. In e-learning, people have got very wrong notion when COVID happens, when the faculty was transmitted as a picture. This is e-learning. This is not e-learning. E-learning is where we have a discussion rooms, we have assignments, we have other aspect of all teaching, and then we take care of all the aspect of that. Now there is always be a debate. Kids wants to go back to the school or wants to go back to the university. E-learning will not succeed. I give you example of practically UAE. When we launched in 1998 online program, UAE government rejected. They said, we don't recognize any e-learning program. It took us number of years. His Highness Sheikh Dr. Sultan bin Muhammad Al Qasimi, he also launched the program which ministry did not approve. Today's scenario, they have accredited 100 universities which are online. Now the question is, take an Indian education. Let me give you example. Mr. Pai is aware. Medical University education of India was not accepted in US nor in Canada. I gave a proposal to Mr. Arjun Singh in 96. Let's make a hub same like KHDA, which you see here, and invite all foreign universities to come into India. They said, no, we want our universities to go abroad. Today, India allowed foreign institutions to come into India. Why? Because my objective was, if they award their degree on Indian soil, they cannot say we don't accept this degree in our campus there. So e-learning is what? The world is becoming flat. Policy of education, research of education, like we have WHO, we have a WTO, there will be a platform at later stage where the global education standards more or less will be set up. So the education is going to change because we have crossed the border through internet. There are no borders. Where are the borders? So e-learning is the future. Whereas bricks will melt, clicks will take over. And that is happening in every. Today you have seen certain presentation of unicorns. What is happening? Platform application, platform application. This is what is happening. In education, when we are teaching to the students, what do we teach? Number 1, agility. Number 2, collaboration. Number 3, technology. Number 4, data analysis. Number 5, leadership and decision making. And everything is possible because my vision is I want to bring faculty into the drawing room through VR.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Well, so e-learning definitely the future, as I'm sure we all agree. Saranjit, I want to discuss with you something interesting, which is STEM education. Can you tell us a bit about that, just very briefly, and you know how that can propel education forward?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. And just for the unversed, STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Thank you for that clarification.
Again, going back to what I said, that technology is evolving very rapidly. According to World Economic Forum, by 2022, which is just around the corner, 75 million jobs will be lost. But the situation is not all grim, because 133 million new digital jobs would be created. And those digital jobs require upskilling in tech, in STEM. And that is why I think that that is going to be one of the parts of the future of education. We do need a large population to be upskilled in STEM, to be keeping pace with that kind of technology and moving forward. Having said that, I wouldn't exclude the A, which is now the new emerging, which is STEAM, which also includes arts and humanities, because at the end of the day, we are still humans, and humanities needs to be kept on the forefront of all decision making. A lot of schools, a lot of universities, education platforms are now also emphasizing the need for sustainability, ethics, and that forms a part of humanities and arts, which is a part of the STEAM education that is moving forward now.
Eileen, can I just ask you this question? You know, what role do you see education and with the help of technology playing in a pandemic recovery, a pandemic-free world?
I can only relate it to some of the courses and areas that we were affected by, and in general UK universities were affected by. The government shouted out that they needed 20,000 nurses, and we needed them really, really quick, because this wasn't something that we were going to get out of in 6 months. Brilliant, okay, so everyone gave us funding to train nurses, and part of nursing requires you to be in hospitals. But they couldn't be in hospitals because of the pandemic. So how do you resolve that problem? It's a huge, huge problem. So what we did was we've now embedded virtual reality, the simulation suites, so that nurses can actually train, but also we can ensure that the standard they're being trained by is moderated and assessed by hospitals and key people in the NHS. So they will assess what the student does, so it's not just down to us, to make sure that we are working within the guidelines and also making sure our students' attainment is high, so that when we come out of this, those nurses and physiotherapists have that level of experience, because all universities in the UK are really struggling to get placements within the NHS because of the pandemic, but they need it. So that's just one example of how education within the higher education sector has got to change to make that virtual reality and online and e-learning absolutely embedded within all areas of the curriculum.
So that scenario could be seen globally and also in India?
Absolutely, absolutely. We are aiming to tie up with 2 other universities that do adult nursing, and some of the students weren't able to travel, but because of e-learning platforms and virtual reality, and also them embedding the same software as ourselves, those students were able to do 1 semester of training remotely and then be able to transition either to semester 2 or to the second year of the program seamlessly. And it made sure that there was compatibility with teaching, there's no dropping of standards. It makes so much sense going forward.
Mohandas, can I bring you back in and just ask you about, what you think companies need to do? to help business and their workforce at the moment from where you stand?
Well, I think what companies need to do is to make sure that there is continuous training of their employees. As most of the panelists have said, things are changing at a very fast pace. And we are seeing enormous amount of new work coming into the marketplace. Competition being global. What the pandemic has done is to make the entire globe one single market for provision of services and goods. So you can be working anywhere asynchronously, anywhere. It don't have to be in front of anybody. We saw it in the software industry. So that being the case, the spread of new technology is going to be very rapid. So I think the biggest challenge for most companies will be to train their people in the use of new technologies, make them learn new skills on a continuous basis, and make sure they update their skills so that every 2 or 3 years, when things change, it will be very different. Do you know that in 2019, the world spent $2 trillion on digitization? This year, possibly the world will be spending $2.25 to $2.3 trillion. That's the biggest global spend, much more than any item of capex anywhere in the world. And if a large part of that goes into developing human capital, training human capital, see the impact. And lastly, please remember, competition is going to come from any part of the world. The world has surplus human capital. So you could be working in a remote place, doing great technology work for a client in the United States or in Europe, right? And what does it mean? It means the world is becoming flat, and that's driven by digital technologies and e-learning. So I see a need for greater investment and greater training for every individual and for every employee globally.
Kamal, Puri, are you finding that with the Skyline University College, that it's really the training of staff, of companies, to train their people to do better in the future?
See, in our university, we have divided academic part and the skill part separate. What is happening, when I planned the first program in '86, 20% of the curriculum was skill-based, vocational in nature, 80% was academic. Like in UK, you used to have polytechnic and universities, right? In US, you have a community colleges and this. The vocational programs, that part helps the student to find a suitable placement and then to grow further into that. Now the time is coming, no university, no business can survive if you are not working on a triangle model. What is that triangle model? Number one, technology company. Second side is content producer. Third side is a brand equity in every business. Because university cannot be expert in technology. University can outsource the technology and bring on board on this, and then curriculum is decided by 3 parties. Number 1, employer. Number 2, faculty. Number 3, alumni. These 3 parties sit together and work for the curriculum itself. So what you produce, all get employment, provided you are taking market needs, wants, demand into account.
Very interesting. Saranjit, what would because we're running out of time, what would your closing statement, mini statement be regarding the education sector going forward and the challenges that can be overcome?
So I think for long, India and Indians have been considered the hub of service economy. But I think that is now changing, and it's changing drastically, where India and Indians are heralding a new future of tech leadership. If you look at some of the key prominent leaders in tech today, Sundar Pichai from Google or Parag Agrawal from Twitter, all coming from India, an Indian education system. I think there are a lot of synergies that could be exported worldwide with our own education, the edtech platforms that are bringing worldwide, right? And as far as some of the challenges that you asked, I think my colleagues here have already covered a lot of challenges with respect to infrastructure and teaching, but I think I would like to add one more, which is around outcomes. With e-learning, a lot of learners are now looking forward to where does this lead to next in their own career paths. And again, companies such as upGrad are also trying to now deliver successful outcomes for our learners, whereby we create personalized career services for all the learners who graduate from upGrad to be able to find meaningful career outcomes for themselves. So I think that's one challenge which needs to be kept in mind by overall online providers as they continue to expand.
All right, well, we've run out of time for this session on education. Saranjit, Sangar, also to Kamal, Puri, and Eileen, Pryer, and remotely on the line from India, Mohandas Pai. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.